So, welcome to another Cheap Hammer battle report. This time I'm going to play a AI list made battle report, but I had a couple of complications since the last one. The AI has been giving me some random stuff. It kind of glitches a little bit or starts hallucinating a lot when it comes to magical weapons. It just doesn't seem to get it right. Doesn't seem to understand how to assign magical weapons or banners or anything. So because of this, I took into consideration these mistakes that it was doing. So I came out with a solution. Basically, when Grok or GPT or any other AI creates the lists for his army, it's not going to include magical items, but it's going to be handicap. It's going to include a surplus of units. In this case, for example, his whole army has a surplus of almost 400 points above of mine. So that's a very substantial amount of points that it's going to have. And well, that kind of like balances it, because then I can just be on my normal level of points and choose all my magical items and banners and upgrades in a form that I can just fight against him, or just like try to better off my strategies to try to fight armies in the future, even when it is like against the human or just these Grok AI battles. Anyway, with that said, I'm just gonna go through his list. It's a very standard list, doesn't have a lot of things, but there's like 20 handgunners, then it's going to be 10 flagellants, 1 steam tank. He has all the upgrades: Hodgline long rifle, pigeon bombs, and repeater pistol. 20 crossbowmen. By the way, every single unit has its upgrades, except the war machines with the veteran upgrade. Mortar, cannon. 30 state troopers. These ones are hand weapon and shield. They got a Priest of Sigmar with them. A Hellblaster volley gun. A master engineer. He has Hodgline long rifle. No pigeon bombs with that guy. 40 halberdiers of the Empire. They are veterans. And there's a level 4 wizard with the lore of demonology, another priest, a general of the Empire, and a battle standard bearer captain of the Empire. Now behind it is a little bit of a surprise. The Grok list checked my inventory of available miniatures and put the Luminarch of Hysh. So I decided to annex it to the list of Empire, and it's going to just skip one of its rules, which is the one that it grants you another dispel dice, because we don't have any magic phase in Warhammer the Old World. We only have just the magic phases that go on the whole 4 phases of every turn. So that one's going to be skipped, but the ward save that is granted by it, which has that range, and then its shooting attack, is going to be preserved. So that's going to be the Luminarch of Hysh is going to be added to this army, with its rules obviously adapted to Warhammer the Old World. 10 more flagellants, and then another cannon, and mortar, and another cannon. Now, this is a very tough army, and I got in the match play guide, I got battle number 1. So we only have 2 objectives. At this moment, I don't have the baggage train. So we're using just these 2 objectives as if they were the baggage train. But overall, it's like I seriously had nothing in my Vampire Count's army to break this. Besides, I think it's pretty fair that I can choose my magic items however I want, because since he has a surplus of 400 points, it's going to be quite obvious maybe that he's going to crush me with all this. So I created a list in order to try to break this. And later on, the next part of this video, I'm going to explain you in detail what the strategy of Grok is and how he has laid down what it wants me to do with his army. Anyway, so let's go to the vampire counts. My list over here, 2,500 points, is just going to be a unit of 10 ghouls, 3 spirit hosts with my vampire count. He has flying horror and the cackling blade. He has heavy armor and shield as well. And he's a level 1 wizard with the spell of Doombolt from Dark Magic. 20 zombies and a big block of 50 skeletons. They have a vampire count over there, BSB, to help resurrect them. And I suppose, hold the line to a certain extent. I'm not pretty sure what I'm going to do with this, but I'm going to try to resurrect or maybe buff up those zombies. I'll see what I can do. Anyway, so it's that vampire count has level 1 as well, wizard with Doombolt spell. I'm going to try to use something like a barrage of just Doombolts against his army. See what sticks or what can I do. Next to it, it's a necromancer level 4 with also dark magic. He has Doombolt and has Word of Pain. I don't remember the Stream of Corruption and another spell. I don't remember which one, but I got them on the list. And he has the Cloak of Mist and Shadows and a Power Scroll and the Scepter of Noirot to help me resurrect as many of this block over here as possible. Another unit of 4 Spirit Hosts and a Hex Raid. Well, one of the current raids. 20 zombies, 5 wolves, 10 Crypt Ghouls, another unit of 10 Crypt Ghouls, another unit of 10 Crypt Ghouls, and that will be the Black Coach, freshly painted, finished up. A Tomb Banshee, and I forgot over here, I got another Tomb Banshee. So basically my strategy is try to just hold on over here so he cannot destroy as much of my units, and try to go with my ethereals, try to harass some of the units over there. I know that probably if he marches forward, he's just going to completely just destroy everything over here, but maybe I can cast some spells, maybe I can just do some things, resurrect, lock on his units. Maybe I could just hunt down his war machines. That's pretty much the strategy. Try to hunt down his war machines and some of his weakest units over there with my vampire count and my ethereal units. I have absolutely no faith that I'm going to win this, because that is insane, the amount of stuff that Grok has. And pretty much in its strategy, it laid me that it's just going to try to unload the shoot of the Luminarch to try to destroy all the ethereal units. So I got to be careful with that. And the rest of it is just going to try to wipe out my whole army with his war machines and everything. Anyway, so gonna roll to see which army goes first. So on to the next part of this video. All right, Empire turn 1. Flagellant's March. These machines shoot. One of them actually managed to hit this unit on the flank, kill 4 skeletons, and then hit a couple of more zombies. The other mortar shot at this unit, but it scattered 6 inches away, but it still clipped a couple of skeletons, just kill a couple of them. Hellblaster had it was an 8, a 2, and a 6. It had 16 shots, but only managed to make 5 of them, even using the ballistic skill from the engineer. Drop a pigeon bomb as well, shoot with his Hotchline long rifle, and just managed to kill another skeleton, so not much. Steam Tank tried to use his gun, his steam gun, but it misfired and it gave him 1 wound. These 2 machines cannot shoot. These guys move, but they are not in range of shooting anything. Crossbowmen march, and in terms of casting, The warrior priest casted a successful Shield of Sigmar. The wizard lord casted a demonic embiggerment, something like that from demonology, that gives him a casting extra movement, and I think initiative and weapon skill. And the other priest of Sigmar also casted Shield of Sigmar upon them. That's it for Empire turn 1. Let's go to Vampires turn 1. Alright, and the Vampire counts turn 2. Turn 1, sorry. I advanced the Black Coach over there. Since it's ethereal, it doesn't matter that it is in between that barricade. But yeah, so I advanced it over there. And I put the Banshee right behind it, because my idea is trying to snipe maybe the most vulnerable units with my ethereals. War machines, maybe if I can take care of the flagellants, or maybe the shooting things, maybe the war machine. But all of this over here, this block, it's pretty much impossible for me to do anything. I don't have the strength or the units to take care of them, but I can maybe hold on over here with my big block, hold my objectives, kill some of the simple stuff, and try to take maybe the objective, and that would be a victory for the Vampire counts, even though it's an asymmetrical battle. Anyway, so going back to this, I put the Black Coach over there, followed by the Banshee. I move the ghouls in its movement and then its reserve turn, so that they can trap the flagellants in a combat. Hopefully they can outlast them and free this flank over here. After that, I casted Doombolt with this Vampire Thrall and then with the Necromancer, and I tried to cast it at the War Machine, and it just managed to make one wound because one was dispelled and the other one went successfully. I can't cast my Doombolt with my Vampire count, but I move them a little bit with the screen of ethereal units, so it cannot be targeted by anything. My idea is that he is going to be also a harass unit, so I'm going to maybe get over there and kill them, maybe trap them over there with the Spirit Host, because I'm outside of the charging range of these flagellants, because they got frenzy, so they need to charge me, but I'm outside of the charging range. So I'm going to try to get out of this position or something and maybe hunt down those units. I'll see what I can do, but I gotta get away from this. Yeah, the wolves move over there. I put the main block like this, and supported by 2 units of zombies, I managed to recuperate some of the wounds. Ghouls stay over there. Ghouls move over here to get away from bombings and the sight from the war machines. Spirit Host move over there alongside the current rate, and yeah, not much happened anyway. On to Empire turn 2. Alright, end of Empire turn 2. Should my everything just move, first of all. The flagellants charge into the unit of ghouls. These guys shuffle and reform in that way. It was conceded by Grok as well. This guy's gonna shoot at anything, so just stay in position. They're pretty much just blocking me from doing anything, because I got the flagellants there, and they are trying. They're not in charge range, but they march over there, and they move forward, so they could be in charge range of my unit of Spirit Host. So that puts my vampire count in a very precarious position. Probably I'm going to have to pull him back. Steam Tank let go of his, it was his steam gun, and managed to kill another 2 zombies. Yeah, I think it was, I think he actually no wait, he actually missed. He didn't quite got the wounds, but he used his steam gun, then he used his cannon against this unit, then his pigeon bombs and the repeater pistol, and everything against this unit. So as well as the Hellblaster volley gun, unload everything on this gun. The bounce spell from the Luminarch of Hysh hit the unit. The magical missile from demonology hit this unit. The mortar from over there hit this unit. The cannon hit this unit. And this cannon over there hit this unit. That cannon hit this unit. And that mortar hit this unit as well. But most of the mortar scattered. Actually, one cannonball wounded one of the wolves, but he saved it with regeneration. So the toll of death from all of the shooting was 6, 10, 20 skeletons. Going to see how many can I revive in the turn of vampire counts. But yeah, it's like it's very it's a very big toll, and I'm probably in the charge range of all these units, so I have to see what I can do over here. Anyway, with the ghouls and the flagellants, I was expecting to do more wounds, but actually I couldn't. They just killed 4 of them. They got flails and hatred, so they repeat their attacks. They got +2 to the charge because of flail, and it was just too much. Well, they actually just killed 2 of them, but in combat resolution they got charged, close order, and they got 2 wounds, and I didn't make any wound against them, so I lost another 4 ghouls, but at least they're pinned over there, so it leaves my black coach sufficient space to start maneuvering and getting over there to those war machines. With the ghouls, well, just pretty much just stay there, because it's all about not losing this section or trying to pin some units down. This guy's the same thing. They're just gonna stay there. Maybe I can move them in order to distract those flagellants as well, and keep going with my screen over there. I think it's going to be the strategy. So I can keep my screen over there, push these ghouls over there with their move and reserve move, just put them in front of them, so they are because of their unstable rule, they have to charge them. So that liberates this screen, so I can just keep pushing forward and get over there, try to hunt down those war machines. Once I get there and lock the units in combat with the spirit host, I'm just gonna fly over them and just trying to hunt down those war machines over there. That's going to be the strategy. And over here, well, just prepare for the onslaught. And try to reform my units as best as possible, see how much I can resurrect, how many doom bolts I can cast, and that will be it for my turn. So onwards to vampire counts turn 2. Alright, so end of vampire counts turn 2. I moved this unit of ghouls over there. I tried to charge his steam tank just to pin him down for maybe 1 turn or something before he comes closer and starts using all his guns against me, but I failed with a double 1, so no charge against the steam tank. However, I moved this unit of ghouls over here, and by moving and his reserve move, so the flagellants must charge them, and so that's I'm going to be able to distract them like that. The Banshee was able to do a wailing dirge and kill 4 of the flagellants, so that's a good thing. Move that unit over there. Vampire stayed over there. Tried to cast a doom bolt against that unit, but it wasn't successful cast. We'll see how we deal with this. Most probably the steam tank is gonna come over here. This is what I discussed with the AI, and it's just going to use its all of its guns against probably everything that's on its way. So that's going to be a lot of wounds. But I'm not so sure. Maybe I'm confident enough that maybe I can hold all of this, because there is no incentive for him to charge. He might as well just use his guns to just move forward and use his guns to try to destroy as much as possible. And once the units are sufficiently weak, then maybe he can charge and just use all of his powers and well, all of his units. I still got my necromancer, my zombie is the current rate, but my strategy still is like I move over there, try to cause some wounds with the wailing dirge from that banshee, but they passed their their leadership by miracle, because they got leadership 5. I was hoping I can make a couple of wounds there, but it didn't matter. Black Coach, it's getting on the way to try to destroy those war machines, same as this Spirit Host, and this Karen right over there as support. Managed to make another wound on this war machine, so he's standing on 1 wound. Maybe on next turn I can just blow it off. And ghouls are gonna stay there probably when this flank is destroyed, or when these guys get destroyed and they reform and they just try moving in this direction. Maybe I can use the rest of the ghouls to try to pin them down, just to not be able to lose the objective. And for the rest, yeah, everything stayed the same, not much of a change. Anyway, onwards to Empire, turn 3. End of Empire, turn, what was it? Turn 3. Everything moved forward. The steam tank rolled a double 1 for his boiling points, for his steam points, and got 1 wound. And then his steam cannon misfired and he got another wound, and the steam gun couldn't barely reach. But one of its, I think it was the pigeon bombs, actually were, oh no, it got the fly away thing. It rolled a 3, so it fly away. And its repeater pistol just do some wounds against the zombies. So not much in that department. The Hellblaster volley gun shot at that unit. It got a misfire, so they cannot use the ballistic skill of the engineer. But they managed to roll 3 4s. So that was 12 attacks against that unit. A couple of wounds were made. What else? The Hodgland long rifle didn't make any wound. He threw his pigeon bombs and it actually landed with a 6 on that unit, and it created more wounds on that unit. So I got the dices over there. Just check the wounds. Once I make my resurrections to see how many of those wounds I remove and how many stayed. This thing, the Luminarch of Hish, pointed its cannon, a solar cannon, at my Black Coach, because it's the only thing that can shoot, and this has a magical attack. And unfortunately, it didn't manage to cast its bounce spell. It's cast with an 8+, and it's considered like a wizard level 1. So it rolled really low. So nothing, but that's the thing. That's a concerning thing. It's the only like available weapon. Of course, it's not in the rules, but I use the rules from Fantasy. It's the only one that can target ethereal units, and it could cause major. It could literally wipe out my Black Coach, and then my strategy would kind of fall apart. But till now, it stayed. What else? I'm missing one of the combats over there. I'm going to do it before I move to Vampires turn 3 to see what happens. And yeah, this unit stayed over here. I still can't really do anything with my vampire count that has the flying horror vampiric power, because this unit's still here. At least I kind of lock those flagellants in place. They charge into my unit and they make like 2 wounds, and I was able to make 4 on them, and the Wailing Dirge actually took 4 of them out. So I think with another Wailing Dirge, there's just 2 of them still there in that unit. I can wipe them out easily, and then perhaps I can just overrun and charge the steam tank, pin them in place, and then I can just move my vampire count a little bit more easy, you know, screening and not allowing these 2 units to shoot at it, and move my Banshee also to try to just like the only thing that I'm aware of is I'm trying to avoid that they charge my Banshee or charge my unit, because since they are close order and everything, maybe they can cause enough wounds to my vampire count. But the thing is, I'm gonna move them closer, and perhaps I can force them to charge me because they got no other option. And with the vampire count, maybe I can just cause enough wounds. And with combat resolution, maybe they don't do anything. But I'm going to try to take those out. With the Black Coach and the Banshee, probably this fight I'm gonna lose it with those ghouls. but I'm optimistic that maybe in the next turn I can throw them, I can move these guys away, and I can throw them another unit of ghouls so I can distract them, maybe charge them with the current rate on that side, and move my spirit host closer so I can maybe get something. But yeah, I mean, like, according to what was discussed with Grok, and it was accepted, is that it preferred that it stayed in like a shooting thing, like that everything just dwindled the unit of skeletons and zombies. Of course, I mean, I was lucky, and most of the things actually didn't manage to shoot and didn't manage to make any wounds. But I think by next turn, I'm just going to have to absorb all the charges. By Empire turn 4, I'm going to have to absorb all these charges over here. Hopefully, maybe I can move something around to try to block it. But onwards to Vampire Counts turn 3. Alright, end of Vampire Counts turn 3. Ghouls managed to wipe out those flagellants over there. Took just one wound. Everything stayed over here, waiting for the charge. Maybe this unit is going to be the one charge, but I'm putting my Crypt Ghouls over there, ready to counter them, maybe on the flank. Putting the Crypt Ghouls over there, charge with the current rate, the flagellants, so they stayed pinned, and it managed to make 2 wounds at them. I threw a Wailing Dirge, but it didn't make anything. Black Coach is ready to charge in the next turns, and it's obstructing vision to the War Machine, so they cannot target my units. Maybe the cannon can, but the rest of the War Machines cannot target the units because of the Spirit Hosts over there. This thing didn't manage to make any wound at my Black Coach, but yeah, that was in the previous turn, in Empire turn. I just stay there. I couldn't cast any Black Doom Bolt at that unit, so no damage from that. And yeah, I mean, like, and I moved the Spirit Host with the Banshee and the Vampire Lord, so she kind of like obstructs the view of the Vampire Lord from over there, and the Spirit Host obstruct the view of the Vampire Lord from the front. So maybe on Vampire Counts turn 4, I can charge that unit and maybe take it out with everything. Or at least pin them down with the Spirit Host and then attack them with the Vampire Lord. Or maybe the Vampire Lord ends up attacking that unit, this guy's that unit, and maybe I can take them all out, because they are not strong enough to take the Vampire Lord. But we'll see what I can do. For the rest, just getting ready for the charges over here. So it's on to... I managed to resurrect some units over here, but still there's a couple of ones. On to Empire turn 4. End of Empire turn 4. Really slow. These guys move back. That was, according to Grok, the best strategy, to make it very difficult for the Spirit Host to charge and just make them waste more time so they cannot go and overrun the War Machines. The Hell Blaster did some wounds at the zombies over there. The Steam Tank shot his what was it? The Steam Gun did some wounds at that unit. Shot his man, I don't remember. Oh, the Pigeon Bombs and the Repeater Pistol, and did a couple of wounds at those zombies. The main block failed to charge, the main block over there of skeletons. They just remain in place, and they actually had the power-ups and everything to just make damage, and they just failed to charge, so they stayed in that position. But the unit of swordsmen charged. They actually lost combat, but they managed to stay and re-roll. So they are just there locked in combat. So probably by the next turn, this unit will charge over there, but that will be Empire turn 5. But at least for now, they're pinned in position, so nothing had happened. And the Steam Tank rolled pretty bad, but it caused some wounds at the zombies, but nothing really drastical in that sense. The ghouls are ready to charge for the next turn, but the current rate was able to do another wound at them, so they stayed in place, and no combat resolution at him. But still, he's indomitable, so it's not really a problem. If actually he receives one wound because of crumbling, he can just wipe it out. the rest of the heavy guns were not able to shoot. Only the cannon was able to take down one ghoul, but these units just draw back, so they can just wait and just make the vampire count wait his time. I'm gonna use those ghouls over there to charge the steam tank. But yeah, I mean, like, not much has happened. And again, the Luminarch of Hysh was unable to shoot its solar beam at the corpse guard, sorry, the black coach. So that's excellent. So I think at this moment I can easily break this part over here. Maybe I can charge them over there, use some wailing dirges, wipe out those flagellants, and maybe work something over here just to make it impossible for them to reach the charge, and throw some spells or some doom bolts at that unit, but just keep that unit from actually getting anything significant, and just try to eliminate until turn number 6 whatever is left over here. Try to keep this screen over here so nothing can really shoot and they can really do nothing. It will be better if I can actually, maybe I can get a charge over here, and maybe I can move my vampire count and my banshee over there, and maybe I can do something to these guys, but I will see what I can do. But yeah, it has been pretty good for the vampire counts. On to vampire counts turn 4. End of vampire counts turn 4. Very successful turn. Flagellants over there, wiped out. Flagellants over there, wiped out. Charge, made 1 wound against the steam tank, but it made a wound with its grinding wheels against one of my ghouls, but it's successfully pinned over there, so I cannot use its weapons. Black Coach charge, didn't make a lot of wounds, but it was enough to create it. He actually made 2 wounds against the cannon. It failed its leadership test, and it broke, fled, overrun into this unit, which was taken by the spirit hosts, made enough wounds for it, and destroyed it, overrun, and charged into this unit over here. So that unit is toast as well. Over here, spirit host charge, but the unit was had close order, standard, and musician. And I made 2 wounds plus charge, so they stayed stable, so they just give ground. The vampire count was able to charge over here, but it rolled a double 1. So in a desperate move, I actually put the banshee right next to him, so it can, since it's ethereal, it can block all the crossbows from going into the vampire count. So that was lucky, you know, that I still had that kind of like screen, because the vision is not enough for them to be able to target him. So the banshee just stayed in the way, and the vampire can't save, but rolling a double 1 was insane. It got fly 10, so it can pretty much just like be able to do something, you know, like get over here. It was not so much of a distance, but it still failed. Probably in the next turn, Grok is going to just move them over here and try to shoot, because then it has vision on both sides. So I don't know if my vampire count is going to be alive, but hopefully he can stand. For the rest, these units are locked in combat. They are very tough units, both of them. They got hand weapons and shields, and they got parry, they got 2 ranks, they got banner. So it's very difficult that skeletons or a vampire thrall can make wounds against it, and vice versa. You know, the unit of skeletons is resurrecting all the time, and it has the banner, the BSB, it has 2 lines, it's close order, and as well as it has light armor and shield, and it has its parry because they don't got spears. So it's also very difficult for them to dwindle. But as it stands right now, 2 of the war machines have been destroyed, 2 of the units of flagellants have been destroyed. On the side of the vampire counts, pretty much just like 1 unit of ghouls has died, but the rest of the army is still intact. So the strategy kind of worked, you know. It's like it's producing. Of course, it's long distance from trying to take the objective, but if by this is going to be Empire turn 5, so if by in the next turn I manage to keep my vampire count alive, and I'm able to charge maybe that unit later, and maybe charge that unit of handgunners, take it out. Take out this unit over here by vampire counts turn 5, maybe on empire turn 6. My block is still there, the steam tank is still pinned, and I can just keep most of my units alive, and then it will be a victory for the vampire counts. That's the thing, is like when in this asymmetrical side of war, even though that he has 400 plus and 6 plus wards because of the Luminar Cophish, and 400 points above, the way of kind of playing the vampire count, especially in this match play game, which is literally just there is no like primary objectives, it's kind of like just an annihilation one. This is the only way that it can probably be played, is like try to use the spirit, the specters, or the spirit or ethereal units to try to hone down some of the stuff that is more delicate, so you can maybe grab those points. Because if you go for the massive blocks, you're not going to make enough damage, not with a vampire thrall and not with a bunch of doom bolts. So let's see what happens now in Empire turn 5. Alright, end of Empire turn 5. This unit moved in that direction to try to shoot at the vampire, and they actually managed to make 1 wound at him. So that's the dangerous part. Steam tank is still locked with the crypt ghouls. Make 1 wound, they got 1 wound, but they've lost 1 wound due to crumble. So it's 4 against the steam tank. Over here, the big unit of halberdiers run into the zombies, did so many wounds, and they just wiped them out due to crumbling. They overrun, and now they are charging the unit of skeletons alongside with this with the unit of swordsmen. So in the next, probably the next combat, maybe my big unit is going to suffer a lot of casualties. I don't know, we'll see. Unit of zombies took a lot of hits. Over here, the last cannon was wiped out by the spirit ghosts. And over here, spirit ghost made so many wounds against the unit of handgunners. They failed their leadership, ran off the board, and I pursued them, but I pursued them off the board. So spirit ghost will come back in the next turn. These units over here, well, they didn't do anything. I think, the mortar shot at the zombies and it scattered all the way to the back, so it didn't do anything. Cannon did the same thing, shot, did a couple of wounds. So there's basically, with the 5 and the 6 over there, we got only 9 zombies still standing there. But the rest of the units are still strong. But major success over here, like mostly all of the weapons plus the flagellants are wiped out. Now the only thing is that unit survives over there. So the only things that they managed to hit was only chaff. So maybe the risky option over here is to charge with the ghouls over there and to try to mitigate. I'm gonna take some hits over there, but try to mitigate the amount of damage that I'm going to receive over there by combat resolution. I'm pretty confident that the unit can stand the skeletons and they can take it. Besides, it's going to be vampires turn 5 and they got another turn, but I think it would be much better if I can just send the ghouls over there and just create more wounds to try to temper the combat resolution. Over here, I'm confident that the steam tank is going to still be grounded over there by the ghouls. It's impossible that it just moves anywhere. And I mean, at least I could save my vampire account. I'm just gonna move the Banshee closer to them so she can maybe throw a Wailing Dirge at them. And I'm going to move the vampire over here. So that maybe in turn number 6 of vampire counts, I can maybe take out that mortar, because I still got vampire counts turn 6, then it's the final turn for the empire, and then it's vampire counts turn 6, last one. Anyway, so that's empire turn 5. Let's go to vampire counts turn 5. End of empire turn 5. The steam tank managed to wipe out it was vampire counts turn 5. The steam tank wipe out the ghouls. The zombies charge into the flank of the swordsmen. The unit of skeletons managed to stay pretty much won the combat. But it was because of the wounds caused by these guys. The heroes did almost nothing at anybody. They're like hitting each other with like wet paper. They're literally not doing anything. But they won the combat by one. Won the combat by one. Yeah, the vampire counts. But they just test on leadership 9, rerollable because of battle standard error. So everything stayed locked in place. Nothing changed. What else happened? Charged with the ghouls over there, but they barely cause any wounds. The only good thing is like my spirit hosts are positioned to charge the Hellblaster volley gun alongside with the Black Coach, which is going to charge as well. The Banshee got into range through a Wailing Dirge, and at leadership 7 minus 2, it was leadership 5 of the crossbowmen. It was like 11. They took 6 wounds, triggering a panic attack. They fled. And yeah, that's a great thing. So this unit is fleeing. And the vampire count flied over there. It's just going to annihilate that mortar. It has no chance of winning. So it's on to vampire counts turn 6, and I think by that point we can just finish the game. Let me just finish my movements, and then we can make the counting, because the rest of these things, maybe like probably the steam tank is just going to charge against, because it cannot shoot anything, so it's going to charge against the zombies, wiping them out, of course, and maybe overrun, but it cannot go into the skeletons. Let's just check out vampire counts turn 6, and I think we'll finish the game here. Alright, so it wasn't end of vampire counts turn 5, but it was pretty much just arranged. One of the things that I forgot to do, it was like in Empire, the crossbowmen were supposed to rally, but they threw so high, and then they fled to the unit of the Hellblaster, and they disappear. Another thing that happened is like it triggered the panic test from these guys, but they were close to the to the engineer, so they passed their leadership test, so no problem. But in any case, they got charged by the spirit hosts and charged by the Black Coach, so that's not gonna happen. The vampire count charge against the mortar, so it's just going to annihilate the crew, probably triggering another panic attack, from this. And if this doesn't break test, if it passes its break test, sorry, then I'm just going to overrun into the next war machine, so just killing it. The steam tank, I'm just taking in consideration that he's just going to grind the impact hit and grind the zombies so that he can take those wounds. And the rest of this is just going to stay the same as always, maybe more wounds or less, because I actually managed to resurrect all the skeletons back. But there's not much damage being caused from one side to the other. And that will be just for Vampire turns 5, it's just going to be pretty much the same. And I decided just to end the battle over here, quantifying everything that the Empire lost, which is basically all of his, taking in consideration, taking the mortar away and just leaving the Hellblaster, which it was going to die in this turn. He only has one, so it's going to probably be killed by the coach and the spirit hosts. The mortar is gonna die, and so it was one mortar, the Hellblaster, the 2 units of flagellants, the 2 great cannons, and against what units of my vampire counts have been eliminated. 2 units of zombies, which is not really much. 1 unit of crypt ghouls, and that will be it. My big block is probably going to stay there. There's not really anything that would kill over there, unless, for example, that this unit gets eliminated and then the steam tank can charge the flank of that, but it's not gonna happen. I don't think, even with because it's locked in combat, so even with all those attacks, the ghouls are still attacking. Of course, my units are not gonna get here because it's like the last turn of the Empire. I'm not going to be able to get any charges over here, and they're not in charge range of this thing. So yeah, I mean, even with the impact hits, and they have been throwing pretty bad both sides, it's not going to be possible. So I'm just going to call it, oh yes, and the crossbowmen were destroyed and the handgunners were destroyed. So it puts me already at a very clear advantage. Block over there is not going to be destroyed. So it's a victory for the vampire counts. Obviously, I can still control my my objective, which is over there, and they don't control theirs, because there's no unit that can there's no infantry unit that can take the objective. So it's going to be a victory for the vampire counts this turn. The strategy worked, just like using ethereal screening and just waiting for the charges in this asymmetrical battle of almost 3,000 against 2,500. It actually worked. So wow, it's a good. It feels kind of good to be able to pull off a strategy, but it's like it's the ethereals. It's pretty much the ethereals and the tricky things that you get in the vampire army. Like if you got blocks that can just be resurrecting all the time and can just make the enemy waste their time, just do it. But just tricks, you know, it's like, for example, my vampire count that flies, just gonna go as an individual unit, try to hunt down more more delicate units, or maybe it can get in the back of some units and charge them from the rear or something like that. Maybe those kind of things you can do them, and definitely they could work. But yeah, I mean, and pin down the steam tank every time that you see it, you know, just throw, if you can throw an ethereal unit that it, throw it, but if you can throw anything that is chaff as well, just pin it down. It pretty much just like, it's just subjected to use his grind wheels, and it cannot move anywhere, so you just lock him in place. So yeah, and anything that hits him, because now he has 5 wounds, anything that hits him is directly to wound. Even though that he has a great saving, you know, it's very vulnerable. Anyway, even with the Luminar cohesion, with his spell, he wasn't able to try to destroy any of my units. So yeah, victory for the vampire counts. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.